this question was to Sean. You grew up in Georgia. When did you first get an idea of what this rivalry means to people around here? When did it first really hit home with you?
When I got up here, and really in high school when I started really to watch Clemson and all pretty much college football. South Carolina Clemson rivalry was the pretty big one that stood out to me.
What do you remember about that game 2 years ago? So that's a career high for you, 191 yards.
Mm-hmm.
What stands out to you about that game?
That was one of the biggest games that we had to play that year. There was so much against us that, they kept imposing that, South Carolina has the streak and things in that nature. And, our focus was just to go out and win and, really set Coach Sweeney's standard of being best and, making a change.
We were tied with Raven Priester for several weeks on the career 100-yard rushing list. Now you stand alone. How special is that for you?
That's pretty cool to have beside my name, but I'm just looking forward to the next game. I want more than just that. So.
Wayne, have you watched South Carolina this year?
Yeah.
What have you seen from them?
They're a pretty good team. They've gotten better as each week has went on, and like any other team, they've been posed another challenge that we got to take on this week.
Was there any kind of relief or happiness about clinching the ACC Atlantic and allowing yourselves to kind of get that weight off your shoulder and then move ahead to some other goals?
Yeah, because it was our goals. It's one of our goals for the season, and now the next goal is to win the state championship. So we're keeping it rolling, and we're really piecing everything together. Back in August, that's what we wanted to do, and we're almost done. So we just got to keep working hard.
Assuming you're still weighing out your options as far as your future goes, so how nostalgic will it be for you to stay on top of that hill knowing it could be your last time?
So I'm just ready to play, man. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just ready to play the next one.
Wayne, what's the difference between the intensity in this game versus some other games during the season?
Just with the players, on the field, it's just really intense. Those players really try to come out, and it's a whole lot more smack talk and stuff like that. But I just smile at that type of stuff. But same old, same old.
You feel like people talk a little less trash to you after you run into them a couple times?
Every now and then, but I can't really stick up for them. But yeah.
Talk about the play of the offensive line Saturday night. You guys finally had that diamond rushing.
Yeah, they've done a really good job, man. They're just tired of really hearing all the, soft talk and stuff, and they really want to impose their will on teams, whether it's pass blocking, run blocking, whatever they got to do to really, make a name for themselves. So they did a great job for me last Saturday.
On paper, this game looks like you guys should win. Rivalry game, crazy things happen. Are you going out there expecting this to be a four-quarter fight that it's going to come down to the last couple seconds? Games that you've played in this stadium several times already.
Yeah. We're gonna get their best shot, and we can't trip. We got to keep playing hard and just do what we do. We can't let go of what we're trying to finish, and we just need to go out there and do what we need to do and get the W.
Do you expect more of a workload coming down to these final now crucial games of the season? Like you got Saturday, obviously they let you set the tone.
Yeah, I always hope for a heavy workload, but whatever the coaches ask me to do, I'll do.
Do you feel a lot fresher at this point in the season than you did last year because your workload hasn't been second?
Not really. I don't know. My body, I take really good care of my body. I feel fine pretty much over the course of the year.
When you first got here, Devo had the countdown clock for the rivalry game installed in the meeting rooms. How long has it been since that thing's been on?
Been on for a while. They usually start that in the summer, all the way, until we play South Carolina, and it's a focus because we got to control the state. So whoever wins, that's the state, and we want Clemson to be represented.
When you guys aren't the only ACC team playing an SEC team, before you got here, it seemed like all the SEC teams had the upper hand, but now that tide seems to be returning, do you guys pay attention to other ACC teams when they beat SEC teams?
I don't pay attention to it, but you know, like sometimes during the game they show the scores, and I'm like, oh, okay, like they beat them or something like that. But you know, it's really cool and interesting to see other teams play different conferences because you never know what can happen.
Is it? I mean, it must make you guys happy when you see the ACC having the upper hand
Well, yeah.
on a league like the SEC.
Yeah, you always want to support your conference, if you like them or you don't, and so yeah, it's always a good look.
You had a pretty good view the last time you got to play these guys in the stadium. Tell me about what you saw from Deshaun Watson.
Just wanted to go out there and win, pretty much. You know, he had the whole ACL thing, and I don't know how you do that. You know, I know they taped it up a whole lot with the brace, but then that just shows his heart and his competitiveness. And he was tired of all the trash talk, as so was everyone else. And he was just ready to go play. He didn't want to sit out.
What do you think about your time with Deshaun? Where does that maybe rank as far as football stuff? You going out there with the ACL against Carolina?
Like, where is it ranked?
Yeah, if you kind of, as far as maybe your memories of playing alongside Deshaun now for 3 years, is that kind of one of your better memories? The fact that he went out there and beat your rival on toward ACL. When you think about your times with your quarterback.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, it felt like normal. Just like last Saturday. I mean, I didn't even know that, or I really couldn't tell that he was really hurting on it, except when he like maybe fell wrong or anything like that. But you know, I don't know if it's an adrenaline rush or you know a shot, but you know he was good, and I guess that ranks. I don't know, probably number one.
You say a lot of guys were tired of the trash talk. How has it kind of changed the rivalry view, I guess, from when you first got here to what it is now? What's it been like being a part of that change as far as Clemson kind of taking control?
Less trash talk. Let's talk about the whole thing. You know, people really try to put those pictures and stuff out of, you know, the South Carolina players having our Clemson helmet and stuff like that, but you haven't seen that in a while. And, you know, I'm glad our fan base doesn't really impose that, because that just shows how, you know, we're a class act and, you know, we show what Clemson really is. And, you know, like I said, I haven't heard a lot.
Has it been nice?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Anything else? Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah.